Yeah, fortunately, I don't have to cover that. I guess
Yeah, man.
Take a picture of me.
Yeah, we can do that right afterwards.
That's what I'm saying. Right after the president.
Yeah, just come up right
2
here.
seconds, yeah, then I have to go.
Okay.
I'm getting choked up.
There's a couple. It was a little spicy. It was a lot spicy.
Testing.
Got it.
Okay. All right, we call our Tuesday, April 11th City Council Business Meeting to order. We have a pledge of allegiance and invocation by Councilman Henderson.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will have a special presentation by, Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I would like to read from Isaiah chapter 58 this afternoon. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Is not this, or is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe them and not to turn them away from your own flesh and blood. Would you bow with me in prayer? God, help us to open our eyes to the injustice around us, as well as open our pocketbooks to those that have need. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen, amen. Yeah,
Yes,
amen,
ma'am.
Chess, all right. All right, now we will have a special presentation, a proclamation for World Autism Awareness Month by Chairman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Madam Vice Chair, members of council, Mayor Kelly, and honored guests, thank you. Would the members for this proclamation here today please join me at the podium? We have Dave Buck, the Executive Director of the Chattanooga Autism Center, and we have former City Council Chairman Erskine Oglesby, no stranger to this body. So thank you, gentlemen, both for joining us today. This is a Chattanooga City proclamation, whereas World Autism Day is an internationally recognized day on April 2nd every year, happening since 2008, and is a way to celebrate the autism community. And whereas the CDC estimates the rate of autism diagnosis is now 1 in 36 people, 2.8%. And whereas the Chattanooga Autism Center now estimates that there are 15,000 autistic individuals in the greater metro Chattanooga area. And whereas autistic individuals should be given access to care, supports, and services included into the community and the opportunity to live happy and meaningful lives. And whereas the Chattanooga Autism Celebration Walk is an event where citizens work together to share commitment, encourage inclusion, and build a stronger community. And whereas it is fitting and proper to declare April World Autism Awareness Month in the city of Chattanooga. Now, therefore, on this 11th day of April 2023, the Chattanooga City Council hereby proclaims April 2023 World Autism Awareness Month in the city of Chattanooga, and encourages all citizens to join together to create acceptance, inclusion, and understanding of autistic people in our community and around the world. Sign this day, every member of this city council. I would like to invite Mr. Buck to talk to us a little bit more about what is happening going on this month.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I promise I'll be brief. I just want to tell you guys about my gratitude. I'd like to thank Erskine Oglesby and Derek for championing this proclamation and for their support with the Chattanooga Autism Center and the people that we serve. And I'm grateful for the members of the Chattanooga City Council for this proclamation and helping us celebrate the autism community. Now, I helped craft the proclamation, and I made an error in leaving some old language in it to kind of prove the point. I want everyone to raise their hands who is not aware of autism. Raise your hands if you're not aware of autism. All right, so the awareness we've got. What we are looking for, what the autism community is trying to do, is point out that they're seeking acceptance and inclusion and understanding. That's what this month is really about. Autistic kids are grateful for the programs that recognize their greatness and celebrate their differences while helping them build skills, realize their strengths, find their voice, and prepare them for preschool and kindergarten and beyond. Autistic students and their parents are grateful for teachers who have learned about their neurodiverse students and made their classrooms more accommodating, allowing the autistic students to reach their fullest potential, and rather than feeling excluded or left behind. Autistic individuals are grateful that the Mayor's Council on Disability exists and whose mission is to support economic self-sufficiency, independent living, and inclusion and integration for all the individuals with disabilities in Chattanooga. And the autism population is grateful for local businesses who recognize their strengths and have modified their interview and hiring processes, or who are actively seeking to hire autistic people. The Chamber of Commerce, the Enterprise Center, Chattanooga Autism Center, Chattanooga Area Employment Consortium, and other local organizations are hosting workshops, panel discussions, webinars teaching employers about this opportunity. More and more local businesses like TVA, Unum, Food City, and many others have policies and programs that are actively hiring autistic individuals. They work with UTC, Chat State, and the schools to interview and hire autistic employees. You all should be proud of Chattanooga. I get dozens of calls each year from people moving to this area because they feel they do not have access to support where they currently live. So this month of April, we're asking all of you to celebrate autistic people, kids and adults. Ask them about their needs, their interests, their goals, and their dreams. Be purposeful about making sure they have a voice in the local government and this community. We will all be stronger when this becomes the norm. Thank you. Oh, and I'm supposed to talk about the walk. So this Saturday, our Autism Walk, 10th annual at Coolidge Park. Our walk director just said we have 835 people registered. That park fills up. It is a signature event in Chattanooga. They go across the Walnut Street Bridge. They visit autism-related service providers, kids activities, and we're raising money for autism programs in this community. We're still not at our goal, so if anybody wants to donate or contribute, go to chatautismwalk.com. I'm the director, so I have to say that. I think that's part of my contract. So thank you all for your time and for this proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We will now have on our agenda the election of officers for chair and vice chair. I will now open the nominations for chair of the Chattanooga City Council, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is my honor and privilege to nominate Vice Chair Rakita Dotley for chair.
Dr. Burrs, I see your light.
Absolutely, and I want to follow with it's my absolute honor to second that, Councilman.
Council, I have a nomination for chair of this council being Rakita Dotley. Any other nominations? Councilman
Close
Hester?
nominations and elect by acclamation.
Councilman Hester, I see your light. We do have a motion to close nominations and move by acclamation.
Follow my fellow council person and say Rakita Dotley too.
Very good. Nominations are closed. We will move this by acclamation. Congratulations, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you.
Rakita Dotley. Madam Chair takes the center chair, if you will allow me one last point of privilege as your chair. The honor to serve this body in the chair position has been, to say the least, quite an experience. Working very closely with our council staff, Nicole, Kiana, Karen, and now Melissa, gave me insight and perspective on how seamlessly our council office operates and the skill each staff member brings daily. A special note to Nicole. I see you down there. Thank you for keeping me on track. You are a lifesaver. You are a true professional. I leaned heavily on you. You are a pillar and the pillar of our council office, and I appreciate you very much. To the mayor's senior staff and department heads, I will miss our frequent updates, kind of. But I am grateful for the conversation and openness of thought and collaboration. We have very talented folks working in these positions, and our city is better for that. Thank you for being so supportive as well over the past year. Mayor Kelly, thank you for the open door policy. I cannot think of a time Mayor Kelly didn't pick up the phone when I called with a thought or concern regarding council business. You remain approachable, willing to engage, and always looking for compromise to achieve best practices or results. Thank you, Mayor. To my right is a gentleman and a scholar, our city attorney, Phil Noblet. Phil, thank you for the guide rails and for being a strong legal sounding board for this council. I've learned so much from you in this position, not only from a legal perspective, but from a procedural perspective. Over my years on council, you have been a tremendous influence on me. Thank you for your continued support and service to our city. To my colleagues who serve this city with passion, commitment, and conviction. Demetrius, Marvine, Carol, Rakita, Chip, Jenny, Isaiah, and Ken. The confidence you've shown me over the past year has been heartfelt and heartwarming. Thank you for the lessons you have left with me while serving you as chair. I am grateful to each and every one of you for allowing me the privilege to serve you in this role. Madam Chair Dotley, it has been a pleasure to work alongside of you. Your dedication and leadership to this council have prepared you to take us forward. And I sincerely wish you success as you lead us in the challenges that face us over the next year. Thank you for being such a great partner. And it is with great pleasure, I now turn the gavel over to you.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you all. Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure to serve as vice chair for this council, and I thank you all for entrusting me to be the new chair of city council. Thank you, Chairman Ledford, for being a great leader, a great mentor. I really appreciate it so much. And I serve as the first African-American woman as chair of this council. So I'm excited about that. So thank you all so much. And I do want to give a special thanks to Councilwoman Coonrod, who, when I first decided I wanted to run, she was the first person I reached out to. So I appreciate you for your leadership and mentorship as well. And I want to thank my best friend, Akil, who's out in the audience, as well as my pastor, which most of y'all don't met by now, Pastor George Mays, out there as well. And my little sister, Nisi Poo, that just walked in. Hey, y'all. That just came in as well. So I'm excited and nervous to serve. So y'all bear with us tonight. Okay. And I have Councilman Smith. You are active.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before we move on, let me be the first to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking very much forward to the next year. But in looking back over the past year, I also wanted to make sure to tell Chairman and now Councilman Ledford, thank you for your leadership over the last year.
Thank you.
There are very few people that, even those of us that serve, that understand the amount of time and dedication it takes to do that job well. And I would like to say that you have done an extraordinary job as chair. I've seen the time you've put in. I've heard about the time you've put in by your wife and others. So I'm very
She's
familiar
happy.
with
Yeah.
the amount of dedication. Yes, I understand it was her term limit, not yours. But with that, thank you so much for everything over the last year. It actually made at least my job on council way easier with how well you ran the meetings, how well you kept things in line. And I know that was because of Nicole. But thank you in that leadership role. And I would just also like to say welcome to the Chattanooga City Council Chairman Alumni Association.
Oh, okay.
Glad to be there.
Yes, and we have Councilwoman Coonrod next, but before I do that, I do want to say, thank you for coming to some of my favorite constituents. I see Susan Gilmore and Tom out there. So I just want to say thank y'all. They have supported me from the beginning, from way in the beginning, before I thought about city council. So I thank them so much for coming. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Jenny Hill, Councilwoman Jenny Hill for Vice Chair.
All right. A second. All right, I have a nomination for Vice Chair for Councilwoman Jenny Hill in a proper second. Any questions or comments?
I move that we close nominations and elect acclamation.
All right, elected by acclamation, Councilwoman Jenny Hill as our new Vice Chair of City Council. All right. Councilwoman Burrs. Okay, come on in. Well, welcome, Madam Vice Chair Hill. Welcome. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
I think that a good vice chair supports her madam chair, so let's get it going.
Let's get it going then. All right. And we do have Mayor Kelly here today. If you want to come up and say a few words.
Well, I won't belabor the proceedings too much more, but I just wanted to take a brief moment to acknowledge this historic passing of the gavel. Wow, I'm not sure I'm okay with this. But we'll talk about that later. To Councilwoman Ledford, I just want to say I hope we kept it interesting for you, Mr. Former Chairman, from packed out public hearings about sustainability plans and hotels and baseball stadiums. My administration threw you a curveball or two during your time as chair, but you always called balls and strikes fairly. And more importantly, you always made sure everyone had an opportunity to have their voices heard. So thank you for that. That's not to say that everyone always agreed, but you've always prioritized a process that was inclusive, and which I hope will always continue, of course. This council has always made decisions together, even if you reach different conclusions. So I know you took calls from me at all strange times, as well as Joda and my team at all hours of the day and night, whether it was good news or bad news. And you did all of this while getting quite a lot done for East Brainerd, including the Batters Place pickleball courts, the Harvest Inclusion Playground at Heritage Park. You led the efforts to dedicate the Heritage House Arts and Civic Center to the late Don Eves, and East Brainerd owes you a huge debt of gratitude for that. You also championed the modernization of our zoning code, which will open up more housing options for every Chattanoogan and help shepherd the city's first parks and outdoors planning effort in over 25 years. You have indeed shown our entire community what our legislative and executive branches of government can do together. We're on the same page and they share the same values. And those examples of civility are all too rare, as we well know, both locally at the state level and nationally, and you are to be commended as a body for your sense of civility and our relationship, which I treasure deeply. So thank you for that. On behalf of the city of Chattanooga, also, again, thank you again for the turn of the gavel. I know that isn't easy. To Chairwoman Donnelly and Vice Chair Hill, congratulations. I'm very much looking forward to working with both of you to get some big things done. This is, of course, the first time that our council's top leadership roles have been filled by two women. It's also the first time that a Black woman has ever served as chair, which is historic in its own right and deserves another round of applause. Again, I'm very proud of our relationship, and I look forward to continuing the work to build one Chattanooga together. And I know we're going to accomplish a lot in the next year. So thank you. And again, congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Kelly. All right, we'll get started with our meeting. And before I go, I just have to say my mom just walked in, so I just want to say, hey, mama. Hey. All right, so can I get a motion on the minutes?
Second.
The minutes will stand without objection. We have no ordinances on final reading. We have ordinances on first reading. Madam Clerk, could you read council office item A?
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 25, Article 3 by adding Section 2579 relative to enumeration of prohibited noises in all residential zones outside the downtown amplified music district.
All right. Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Okay, I have it's been moved and properly second. Any questions or comments? I have Councilwoman Coonrod.
I'd like to make an amendment.
Okay,
I'd like to make the amendment to, several of them. On number 3, the yelling and hawking in the streets, to add the time from 8:30 at night until 7 o'clock in the morning. And then also number 5, the operations of vehicle, add a time, 8:30 PM to 7 AM. And, also to, number 9, change the time to 8:30 PM to 7 AM. And I believe we had a overlook at error in the time on number 2. That it says 8:30 PM to 10 PM, but it should be changed to AM on 10 o'clock AM.
all right,
I'll second that amendment.
all right. The amendment has been.
Oh, and one more, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Number 10, it says with the fireworks, it shall be unlawful to set off fireworks after the hour of 11:30 PM except for July the 4th and New Year's Eve. I like to add Juneteenth in that as well.
Okay. All right, any additional amendments, Councilwoman Coonrod?
That's it.
That's it, all right, and that's in form of a motion?
Yes.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, the amendment has been, motioned and properly second. Any comments or question before we vote on the amendment? All right.
Roll call, please.
Roll call vote, all right. Madam Clerk, will you a roll call vote for the amendment?
Councilman Henderson?
Yes.
Councilman Smith? Councilman Ledford? Councilman Hester?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs?
No.
Councilwoman Knoll?
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hill?
Yes.
Chair Dottley?
Yes.
7 yeses.
7 yeses, okay, amendment passes, all right. With the amendment, we want to vote on the ordinance as amended. Any comments or questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? All right, ordinance passes. Moving on, council office, planning, item B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to amend condition number 2 of ordinance number 13484 for the properties located at 3734, 3800, 3904, and 3914 St. Elmo Avenue.
Okay, is the applicant present? All right. Is there any opposition present? Okay, I see an applicant, no opposition, council?
Madam Chair, this is in your district. Would you like to see a presentation?
Oh, no presentation necessary.
Okay, well then, Madam Chair, I will move to approve.
All right, the motion has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion passes. Madam Clerk, could you read item C?
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 821 East Main Street from C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Is there any opposition present? Okay, I see an applicant, no opposition. Councilwoman No?
Second.
Okay, we have, the ordinance has been moved and properly second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Madam Clerk, item D.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part Two, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 2406 East 19th Street and 1902 South Watkins Street from R1 residential zone to R2 residential zone to C3 central business zone subject to certain conditions.
Right, is there an applicant present? Okay, see the applicant. Is there any opposition present? Okay, I said applicant, no opposition. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Ethan, for taking a risk to come into this community. It's turning out to be a beautiful development. I really appreciate you, and I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion properly second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Item E.
An ordinance closing and abandoning a sewer easement located in the 1800 block of Ridgewood Drive beginning at MH number S14B002, thence northwest 317 feet to MH number S14B49B003, this northeast 294 feet and ending at MH number S149B004, tax map number 149CA009, as shown on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, Councilman Smith.
Move to
Oh.
approve, Madam Chair.
That's right. I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion. Okay, we have a second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. We do. Now we move on to resolutions. With no objection from the council, I would like to take items A through E as a group. Okay, Madam Clerk, could you read items A through E on the council office?
Item A, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $5,000 from the American Rescue Plan coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to the Miracle League of Chattanooga for the purposes of providing access to adaptive sports programming for special needs individuals who experience negative financial impact as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Item B, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $10,000 from the American Rescue Plan coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to the new United Missionary Baptist Church for the purposes of continuing to provide tours of historical Black colleges and universities, Chattanooga high school students with a qualifying grade point average. Item C, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $15,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to the Pathway Young Adult Program, Inc. for the purposes of continuing to provide transitional wraparound services to young adults and teenagers who are exiting the Tennessee Foster Care Program. Item D, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $5,000 from the American Rescue Plan coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to Partnership for Families, Children, and Adults, Inc. for the purposes of encouraging and assisting children who have experienced trauma due to violence by expanding access to Partnership's Camp Hope. Item E, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $10,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to the I Am Foundation for the purposes of continuing to provide wraparound supported services to home LGBTQ plus youth in Chattanooga.
All right, I have Councilwoman Coonrod.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Under economic development, item F.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed to convey the city of Chattanooga 50% interest in the delinquent tax parcel at 1806 South Hawthorne Street, further identified as tax map number 156BN016 to Hamilton County, Tennessee.
Okay, that is in District 8.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Legal, item G.
A resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to join the state of Tennessee and other local governments in amending the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement and approving the related settlement agreements.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. On the mayor's office, I would like to take items with no objection from council, items H, I, and J as a group. Madam Clerk?
Item H, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Marco Salinda to the Stormwater Regulations Board for a term beginning on April 12, 2023 and ending on April 11, 2026. Item I, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Mark Miller to the Stormwater Regulations Board for a term beginning on April 12, 2023 and ending on April 11, 2026. Item J, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Ross Pickern as the administrator for the Department of Public Works.
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we will have a public hearing on commercial property assessed clean energy and resiliency, or the CPACER program ordinance. Before we start, I want to have Joe to come up and explain what all of that is.
Yep. Thank you, Chairwoman. If there's a presentation, I think that I can run through really quickly. I'm not going to go through it in extraordinary detail, as you all have seen this presentation before, but there are a couple of points I want to highlight. Like I said, we did review this in strategic planning, but the CPACER ordinance provides a voluntary tax assessment that is between a property owner and a lender, both voluntary. And this provides a new financing mechanism for energy efficiency improvements and resiliency improvements, a new tool in the toolbox, if you will, for Chattanoogans. So this is authorized by the Tennessee General Assembly in Title 68, Chapter 205, and it is property-based financing for energy and water efficiency improvements, as well as resiliency improvements. So everything from improving the thickness of windows to adding solar panels, which can help improve the resiliency of a building. These can be considered qualified projects. And it acts like an assessment. The bill would come around annually timed along with the assessment. But the funds in the way that we have designed the program would be paid directly to the lender. Again, this is a voluntary program that we anticipate maybe 1 to 3 of every year. And the assessment lien would be placed on the property. And in exchange for that, the property owner from a lender would receive the funds to do long-term deep energy efficiency improvements. A couple of things I want to flag. There have been 0 foreclosures on CPACE properties nationwide. There are only a handful of CPACE lenders. And again, the city of Chattanooga, as part of this program, would certify that these are eligible projects, and then would sign off on that. And then from there on, it is between the property owner and a lender. The statute provides very limited situations in which there's any liability to local government. It's explicitly in the situation of gross negligence that the city would be liable. And we have put in place a measure and program that would ensure that all projects are eligible and reviewed by our staff. Again, the repayment terms are billed and collected and enforced directly by the CPACER capital provider. These projects are currently enabled in Memphis, Davidson County or Nashville, and Robertson County in Tennessee. And it's currently enabling legislation is in process in 4 other municipalities and counties throughout the state. Again, this adds a valuable tool to the toolbox for developers of affordable housing or multifamily housing or commercial properties to, again, deepen the affordability and efficiency of their projects. This is the one thing I noticed didn't translate. The CPACER provisions can be used in everything except for single-family residential. So there should be an X there, but it is enabled for offices, multifamily, housing, industrial, retail, hotel, agricultural. They can all be used. This process can all be used for everything other than single-family housing. And again, this is 100% financing. It allows deep retrofits and increases property values, which ultimately increase our local tax base. And I want to underscore once again, this is a voluntary lending agreement that a property owner and a lender would both voluntarily agree to enter. And the loan value cannot exceed the overall value of the property. Again, no local financial resources are at risk. The city generally has no liability for non-payment by a property owner. That would be the lender's responsibility. And then finally, there is no provision, and in fact, it is explicitly prohibited by state legislation that allows the local government to use public funds to repay any of the CPACER loan terms by any property owner. So no city dollars can go into these loans. This is, again, explicitly an agreement between a property owner and a lender. I will point out that there is an administrative fee that would come back to the city of 1%, but it is capped at $50,000. For most of these loan terms, you would see somewhere in that $50,000 range is an application fee for processing this. So this has an opportunity to provide revenue back to the city. And again, the city of Chattanooga has chosen to delegate the billing responsibilities directly to the capital provider. And that, there are more details and we cover those in strategic planning, but I wanted to see if there's any questions from council before I turn this over to the public hearing and back to you, Madam Vice Chair, or sorry, Madam Chair.
Any questions, council? Right. I don't see any lights, so we will start. Thank you, Joda, so much. We appreciate you. We will start our public hearing. And City Attorney, would you give the guidelines?
Sure. Each speaker here, if they wish to be heard during this public hearing, I think it's been set aside for 30 minutes at this point in time, if you wish to talk. And each speaker has to come to the microphone up front. Can't have more than 3 minutes to speak during this time, and only talk on matters that are involving the CPACER program at this time.
All right. And when you come up, please state your name and district.
Sure. My name is Nick Wilkinson. I'm CEO of the Tivoli Theater Foundation, 399 Macaulay Avenue, District 8, our newly elected chairwoman's district. So congratulations. I'm here today to speak in favor of CPACER, Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy and Resiliency, as it's known here in the state of Tennessee. Before I tell you why the Tivoli Theater Foundation is in support of this important program for our project, I want to give you a little bit of background on the foundation that I think so many of you know because you helped us get established. The Tivoli Theater Foundation was established in 2015 to preserve, promote, and to manage the Tivoli Theater, the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Auditorium, and the Walker Theater. Since we've taken over these venues, we've seen an annualized 900% increase in the volume of shows and events that take place in these venues, bringing them back to life, activating the way they should have always been used. We've also invested over $10 million into these buildings to date. Before our project begins, actually. We still have remained home, though, to the symphony and the ballet and so many other nonprofit users, graduations, children's programs. We also, though, bring the best in Broadway shows and events, concerts, comedy, everything across the spectrum. We also provide tremendous economic impact to our community. In 2022 alone, it's based on a study we commissioned from the University of Florida. We brought in over 220 events. We sold over 155,000 tickets. All 50 states were represented in those sales. We created over 404 full-time equivalent positions. We generated over 43.6 million in economic impact back into our city and our downtown. And that also generated 2.2 million in local and state taxes. So obviously a big ROI for the city and a great choice for y'all to set up a private nonprofit foundation. We have the reason we are interested in this program is we have a $60 million project. We're renovating 200-year-old buildings, as you can imagine. They have a lot of energy efficiency opportunities. They have a lot of HVAC upgrades, a lot of new windows, a lot of improvements that will by default qualify us for this sort of preferable financing that we have found, and as we've studied this project, very preferable to traditional bank financing. And so we very much appreciate your consideration of this ordinance. Like Joda said, it's between a private lender and a private borrower. The city's role is very minimal. Numerous cities, Tennessee cities have already adopted. I won't go over that again. It will spur good development. I've talked to numerous hoteliers. We have a lot of great hoteliers in our city who are very interested in this passing. So I think we have a lot of great opportunity for bringing in good development, the kind of sustainable development that Chattanooga is known for. Mostly, I'll also say one thing that this is going to lead to once we complete this project, the $60 million plus restoration of the Tivoli and the expansion into the Tivoli Center building that we bought. We're going to create 800 or so jobs, $81 million of economic impact, and double the amount of state and local taxes back to the state and city. But most importantly, what this will let us do is it'll let us polish the jewel of the South. which I think we all love and I think we all know deserves to be polished once again. So thank you for your consideration.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. We appreciate you. And just for clarity, I am District 7, but the Tivoli is in District 7, so I'll accept it today. That's all right. Okay, name and district number.
Aaron Berry, retired Army Sergeant, District 3. No, vote no. There's several constitutional factors on there that's going against the Constitution. 2, that seems like another bill we're going to have to deem to the taxpayer. We can't even get our roads on Lower Mill Road or down on Broad Street, potholes put up and everything, but we're going to go ahead and try to get 800 more thousand people in here for new revenues, but we can't even get our cities straightened up. Get your city straightened up first before you start making these ridiculous things that's going to cost us more money in the end. God bless. Have a good day.
Thank you. Right. I see no one else here for the public hearing, so I will close the public hearing. All right, Madam Clerk, would you read item L under Mayor's Office?
A resolution demonstrating the city of Chattanooga's intent to adopt CPACER enabling legislation following a public hearing.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion, proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item M.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 10, Buildings by adding Article 4 entitled Commercial Property Access Clean Energy and Resiliency CPACER Program within the city of Chattanooga.
First reading on this one.
Okay, we got a move approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. This is first reading for this ordinance. Got a motion, proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passes on first reading. Madam Clerk, on the Parks and Outdoors, item N.
A resolution authorizing the waiver of park rental fees in the amount of $1,600 for People Staff Inc. in support of the Walk Run Pedal Jams Festival taking place in Coolidge Park and Walker Pavilion for the date of Saturday, May 13, 2023, and the applicant will be responsible for the deposit in the amount of $1,100.
Okay, Councilwoman Coonrod. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Public Works, item O.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number F18001-201, new fire station number 15 to Roberts LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the amount of $4,257,208.50.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
It's been a long time coming in my yo-guided voice.
Yeah.
I move to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Without objection from the council, we'll take items P, Q, R, S, and T as a group. Madam Clerk?
Item P, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Philip Harwood, a special police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to do special duty as prescribed herein as transportation inspector subject to certain conditions. Item Q, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Elsie Interiano as special police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to do special duty as prescribed herein as transportation review specialist subject to certain conditions. Item R, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Thomas Dunn as special police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to do special duty as prescribed herein as construction inspector 2, subject to certain conditions. Item S, a resolution authorizing the appointment of James Sartori as special police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to do special duty as prescribed herein as construction inspector 1, subject to certain conditions. Item T, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Caleb Fisher as special police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to do special duty as prescribed herein as transportation review specialist, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, Councilman Hester, followed by Councilwoman Byrd.
Move to approve.
All right, it has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item U.
of the Department of Wastewater to increase blanket coverage 100364 with Tally Construction Company for on-call sanitary sewer installation and repair, contract number W22006201 in the amount of $1.5 million in year one for revised annual amount of $3.5 million.
Okay. All right, have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we have purchases. Julia, come on up.
Good evening, council. We have one purchase recommended for approval this evening. It's from the Safety, Compliance, and Risk Management Division of Human Resources. This is a new blanket contract for risk management software information system. 8 bids were requested and 5 were returned. The award will go to Origami Risk LLC. This will be a 4-year agreement with an annual cost estimate of $145,000 for year 1 and $67,050 per year for years 2, 3, and 4.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. We also have one RFP.
Yes, ma'am. We have one RFP. We're requesting approval to issue the RFP, not approval to award any contracts at this time. This is from Economic Development. This RFP intends to identify qualified partners capable of leveraging and deploying city funds to create loan products that expand access to capital, increase the capacity of local housing developers, maximize the number of affordable homes created, the depth and term of their affordability, and advance the city's commitment to equitable growth. Following the receipt and evaluation of responses to this RFP, the city intends to enter negotiations with one or more respondents with the goal of structuring an agreement for the investment of city funds into one or more loan funds or loan product lines that will be made available to qualified developers pursuing affordable housing projects in Chattanooga.
Okay, Councilwoman Burrs.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, we got a motion and a proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. All right. Now we come to committee reports. Councilman Henderson? Councilman Smith?
No report, Madam Chair.
Councilman Ledford?
No committee, no report.
Councilman Hester?
No report.
Councilwoman Coonrod?
No report on the committee, but I do have an announcement to make. Is that this month, April is second chance. April the 13th at 6 o'clock, the Criminal Justice Reform panel will be had at 6 o'clock at 2901 Taylor Street, Rice. And it will be shattering collateral consequences. We have Robert Sherrill, who was pardoned by President Trump, that's going to come down and share, his journey and how the collateral consequences have been a consistent barrier in his life, along with other faces of incarceration. We often think about, how the face is often a Black person, but it's so many other people that are arrested and the criminal justice have been unjust to them as well. So if you are able to come out, and then also on April the 22nd, the Sycamore Institute will be presenting on the justice debt dilemma, talking about fees and fines, how it's also a barrier to those that are reintegrating back into society. And that's going to be held at UTC. And it will be like a half-day, a symposium workshop from 9 until 1:30.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman O?
No report, Madam Chair Dotley.
Thank you so much. Councilwoman Burrs?
No report, ma'am.
And Madam Vice Chair, Councilwoman Hill?
No report.
Thank you so. All right, now we come to the point of persons wishing to address the council. City Attorney, would you please give the rules? And as he's giving those, if you would like to address the council, you come up, please, and line up at this podium here.
So at the end of each council meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council. Come up front to the microphone and speak only from the microphone. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority, and not upon matters that are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Don't engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not towards individual council members. And please don't engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited under Tennessee law. And a person commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting. So having stated those rules, ma'am, come right ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Campbell, District 3. First, let me take a moment to congratulate my friend and colleague, Chairwoman Dotley, as well as Vice Chair Hill on their historic elections. When women lead, good work gets done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm. That's right. Second, I'd just like to take one moment to thank this council, the city of Chattanooga, and this administration for their work to move Chattanooga into a cleaner and healthier for our future and our grandchildren. I thank the majority of you to public pressure and for approving the resolution in support of the climate action plan. We don't have a lot of time left to save this planet, and the work done in towns and cities like Chattanooga will lead the way and drive change starting right now. Future Chattanoogans will look back on this time and they will thank you for the work that you have done. I'm grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you come on up. And if you would state your name and district.
Well, let me say first, thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox. We're still not sure what district we're in now, and this is year 2023. But I did get a call. I've got an invitation. I'm going to Nashville to represent the city of Chattanooga, the county of Hamilton. Of course, many of you heard that some people who think like Monty Bell made the news. The last time I was here, I asked you all to stay out of the mirror. And yet you did the opposite and you made world news, compliments of CNN. Let me tell you about CNN real quick. I need more time. My book that's been stolen for at least 7 times has a front cover with my photograph on it. It says Monty Bell, news talk pioneer of CNN, the cable news network of the world. And I've been silenced by the criminal justice system of my hometown, my county, and my state, the county commission, the city council, and all of your mayors since Mayor Kinsey. My African-American Chamber of Commerce was stolen and I was silenced. We need it now. The only business that came out of my chamber was a funeral home business, Taylor Funeral Home, out of my company that I never had a chance to lead. But I'm going to lead you all into prosperity, $105,670,000,000 for you're destroying my life, for you're silencing the voice. I was the voice before the voice came on television. It was given to me by a man named Tommy J, right here locally. More Lloyd, locally. We don't know anybody in television, radio, or the newspaper right now. I can read right out of here and ask you who's on radio, who's on television, who's in the newspaper. Nobody knows. And you've tried to silence me. When I come back, I'm going to talk about this illegal arrest. That's what I'm going to Nashville to talk about. I'm going to talk about a black police chief that comes to my town and arrests me based on a mayor who put a hit out on me. We're going to discuss that. I hope he's here tonight because I want to know Emily O'Donnell. She's over at the Homeless Coalition, Homeless Foundation. I'm going to Nashville because we're going to stop all of this money from my COVID-19. I created it right here. The first people to get it was on Macaulay, Salvation Army 614. And you go and tell Reuben Taylor tomorrow, whoever got this double job, that his job's in jeopardy.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Bell.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Don't take it out there.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sean Nix, Executive Director of the I Am Foundation, 4916 Highway 58, District 3. I first want to thank this august body for approving those expenditures that will absolutely create and help us fulfill the mission of creating safe spaces for LGBTQ youth here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County. We know, we've all seen the slate of hate that has risen like the terror of the Ku Klux Klan here in Tennessee, in the southeast of the United States. But today here in Chattanooga, we can say we put a stop to that. We created an oasis of hope. So I thank you. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aaron Berry, District 12, retired Army Sergeant. All you guys confused about what's been going on with the 15-minute Smart City and Charles Schwab and our place council members. This thing's going out right now. It's been going out for a while. If you want to help get real and fair elections, you need to go to www.TennesseeVoterPetition.com. I'm going to say it out real slow. www.T as in Tango, N as in November, V as in Victor, O as in Oscar, T as in Tango, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, P as in Papa, E as in X, T as in Tango, I as in India, T as in Tango, I as in India, O as in Oscar, N in November.com. That's for the state of Tennessee. For Hamilton County, you will want to go to www.hamiltoncountyelection.com. It's too easy. 2 minutes, you get to put your information in there, push the button, and if we get so many numbers, we get to have a free and fair election again. Start next week, I'll be going to Sequatchie, Marion, Bledsoe, Ray, and Bradley counties, providing them with the Tennessee state. We are getting these machines out of here, and you are going very quickly. Talk about websites. Websites that you can understand what's been going on. Okay, look, I can't tell you and can't explain to you everything I research on because I don't have the time for that. But there's 2 websites that you can get on that you're going to get about 85% of your information is going to be correct. And what that's going to be is going to be www.nweknow.com. The second one is going to be www.x22report.com. And if you really want to get down to nitty gritty, you can go to the www.patriotlight.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been through hell these last 3 years, and we're about to put an end to it. I think you guys already know what's fixing to come. And I'm going to love it, every minute of it, because I know who's been investigated already. God bless you. Have a good evening.
I see no one else wishing to address the council. What's your pleasure? Meeting adjourned. Amen. Should work.